Hello there, I'm Robert McKay. It has been a bit since I did an actual video. A little while back I did a real short thing on how to open Knob Creek. And today I'm going to keep this short. As I've said before, my wife and I have to work around each other's schedules. I work around her schedule making videos. She's out, but she'll be back fairly soon. And once she's back, I don't want to disturb what she's doing. So I'm going to just dive right in, and I want to just show you some of the things I've gotten fairly recently that I like and that may not be real typical. And I hope these will show up on the camera. As you know, if you've watched this channel any length of time, I don't have any kind of professional facilities. It's a thoroughly amateur production. The first is Abasolo corn whiskey, and I speak a little Spanish, so I can actually sound like a Hispanic. It's Alma de la Tierra, which means something like soul of the earth, soul of the land. Abasolo, el Whisky de Mexico. And it's from Distillería y Bodega Abasolo down in, I believe it's Oaxaca in Mexico. And they use a variety of corn that only grows above 7,000 feet and only in that area, called cacahuacintle. And it's very ancient type of corn. And then and I'm not even going to try to say the name of the process. I can't ever do it. But they use the same process on the corn that you use to make hominy with. Then they dry it and grind it and mash in, except for a small percentage of the corn which they sprout. And then they dry that and grind it up, and that goes into the mash. And that and the way they age it, their warehouse has no walls, just a roof. And so it's open air. And it produces a really nice, unique whiskey. It reminds me, the nose of it, of Abuelita Mexican hot chocolate. If you ever see that in the store, take a sniff of it. That spicy chocolate smell is on the nose here. The next thing, and I need to take this off of it, it's a reminder that I still need to do a written review on Distiller, is Oregon Spirit Bourbon. I believe, I don't know, but I believe that Oregon Spirit is a Total Wine store brand. And sometimes those Total Wine store brands are bad. First Call Rye, I couldn't drink. McFarland's Bourbon, I couldn't drink. I did a review of that in one of my videos. If you want to see what I thought of the McFarland's, go watch that. But this Oregon Spirit, I didn't realize that it seems to be a store brand until I tried a different bottle, which I'll get to here directly. But they do good work. This does not taste like Kentucky bourbon. And so a lot of people probably won't like it. That's why you get so much contempt and hatred for Texas whiskey, because the more it tastes like Texas whiskey, the less it tastes like Kentucky whiskey, which everybody, including some Texas distillers, imitates. But this stuff's good. And then this is just the order in which I grabbed them and put them on the table by me. Then comes Redemption Wheated Bourbon. And it's a wheated bourbon, but it is 45% winter wheat. Now, it is bourbon. There's what percentage of corn? It's a barely legal bourbon, 51% corn. But that 45% wheat is a high percentage. Nobody, as far as I'm aware, is making a traditional bourbon with that much rye in it. A high rye bourbon would be 20% rye. So this is definitely a high wheat bourbon, and it drinks Well, there's the phone ringing. I'll just ignore it. It's nobody I want to talk to. It drinks almost like a wheat whiskey, which is something different than a bourbon. Although the Bernheim wheat whiskey, I don't have that here. Bernheim wheat whiskey to me tastes almost like a bourbon. But then the last bottle I want to show you is Oregon Spirit wheat whiskey. And I don't know offhand what percentage of wheat it has in the mash bill, but it's up there. And this and the Redemption both remind me of rye in a way. They don't have the spice and the bite of a rye, but I get a lot of eucalyptus from them, and also, for that matter, from the Oregon Spirit bourbon. I get a lot of eucalyptus, which to me is characteristic of at least some rye. I get that kind of thing from, which rye is it? I don't have that here, but the Hard True Sweet Mash rye gives me some eucalyptus. And so apparently for my palate, wheat and rye have some of the same effects. But this I had wanted to try for a good while, and I finally was able to do it. And it's right good, and I like all of these. They're each different. They each have their own things I like. I wish they were all higher proof, but they all taste good. And I recommend all of them. I'm not doing reviews here, and I do need to cut this short. Looks like I'm at over 8 minutes now. So I don't even have an empty whiskey glass. I'm going to have to pretend. I assembled everything real quick. But with my empty whiskey glass, I say to you as best as I can in Gaelic, a language I don't know, and in Scotland they call it Gaelic, by the way, which to us means France. But in as best as I can in Gaelic, sláinte.